with famous people. And this is fine. This is fine. Did I get my Adderall today? No. Can I get it today? No. I cannot get it until when? Tomorrow. But you know what I'd say about that? This is fine. This is fine. Actually, I'm not super restless about getting it. Like, the fact that I'm not going to get it tomorrow is okay. It just really shouldn't be titled "This is fine" because it actually is fine. But I like this meme that Rachel linked to last night, which I've seen before, but not really thought about much. This is fine. There's this dog. He's sitting at a table, and the room's all on fire around him. He says, "This is fine. I'm perfectly okay with the things that are happening right now." I really enjoyed that. So, but the reason this is fine is because I'm like happy, feel fairly energetic. There's stuff going on. It's very important to have something to look forward to, slash some, for an SI person especially, I think, to have some sort of forward script of things that sound interesting coming up or whatever. Today the phone company is coming to install our interwebs, our faster interwebs. And that's kind of exciting because we've been on crippled internet since we moved here for a full year now. And finally, we're going to get fiber. And they're going to be super lightning fast around here. The other thing that we have going on that I don't know if I would say I'm looking forward to it, but it's a sufficiently big deal that they ask you how you are, and you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine. But you just can't get into it because they would never understand. Well, I am fine right now. Freaking clog machine. But, more topically than the fact that I'm fine is the fact that this is fine. This is fine is the most backside FE thing ever. I mean, FI thing. Backside FI. It doesn't even say I'm fine, right? It says this is fine. Externalities are fine. I don't need to worry about my feelings about these sort of things. It's fine. The thing is, when things aren't very fine for me, I don't have very good clarity about that. Like, I may recognize that I'm not feeling very excited and happy like I typically have historically always felt myself to be as a default. I've been going through that sort of stuff for the last year or so, but I really feel as though now is a sea change. A chapter beginning that will be interesting. I'll feel, energized creatively and in other ways. One of the things we have going on, possibly today, depending on what time the phone company comes, Rachel and I are still have a plan to get a rental property around here, rent it out, and depending again on the phone company, we may go look at this property today that we are potentially interested in. It's just right down the street from us. It's on the same street as us, actually. And it's a good deal, I think, for a 3-bedroom, 1-bath in Mariposa. Listed at $275. Obviously, you'll have to see what needs to be done and stuff, but if we can get that for that in like total cost and including like whatever fixings we need to get, then I think we can very reasonably expect to see over 8% return annually in rent money. So it's a smart idea, and it's something that I feel pretty sure we are going to do. I don't know if this is going to be the place, but it checks off a lot of our boxes. I love the fact that it's so close to us because it makes landlording easier, you know? Boy, this barn, it wasn't really just the stem that was to blame here. This barn is just caked with resin, chunks of sienna, etc. Alright, good enough. Now I use the squirter to squirt all the barn resin down into the drain. Basically, so the sink doesn't smell like barn water so much, you know. Okay, all right, squirter, stop squirting. Looks about right. Yeah, looks about right. So yeah, there's not going to be any extended Adderall stream today where they're just thwacked out, yammering for hours because I can't get my Adderall until tomorrow. Now, the thing is, I was pretty sure you get 48 hours before 30 days. And that should be today, but they said, no, you can't get it till tomorrow. So I don't know if the rules changed, if I'm counting wrong or something. But at first I was like, oh, because I thought it was Friday. And if I can get it till tomorrow, then that would mean I can get it till Monday. But then I realized, wait a second, Eric. It's not Friday. It's Thursday. And then when I went through the checkout line at the grocery store, I don't know quite how to feel about this. Normally, they'll sometimes ask me, are you a senior? To get me the senior discount. I say, no, I'm not a senior. But today the cashier just was like, and I'll add your senior discount. So I'm kind of frozen. Like, is it immoral of me to just say nothing and take the senior discount? I didn't say anything. and I just took senior discount. And my reasoning at the time was, well, if she had asked me, am I a senior, I'm obviously not going to lie about it. But since she just put the senior discount on and told me she was doing that without asking me, I just stand here and say nothing. How can you still be clogged? What in the world is wrong with you? It's frustrating. It's like I'm just trying to pull a simple, clean, full bong rip without any problems. And like 1 out of 5 bong rips, I can actually pull through properly. The rest of them, they get clogged or whatever, you know. They get all resiny. So yeah, we might go look at this property later today. Our realtor is up in Mariposa on Thursdays, and if in fact the phone company comes on in the earlier, you think the discount is my lucky girl syndrome working? Well, it was an older lady cashier, and it's not something I would ever have really thought about, except Rachel's pointed it out adequately enough or noted this occurring or something. It makes me wonder if maybe she's onto something. It's like she says the older women cashiers at the supermarket flirt with me. I don't interpret it as that, but that's what she says. And I trust her judgment on those things. So maybe she was trying to say, like, hey, seniors, we're both getting pretty old. Maybe she was trying to say that. But I mean, I have a wedding ring on, so I don't know why anybody would try to flirt with me. Although my grocery store trips this morning was extremely single male-ish in my grocery cart. I just had frozen dinners, some like pre-made breakfast muffin things, a bag of chicken strips I got from the deli, a 24 pack of brisk iced teas, a quart of heavy cream, um, cat litter, and a new cat litter box scooper. I didn't have a whole lot of stuff. Lemon Melon says definitely was flirting. Well, maybe she was. I don't know. I'm not good at picking up on that stuff. But regardless, it's like I don't mind being asked if I'm a senior citizen. I don't really like being put in a position where I have to just either correct somebody for to then say like, no, that was too much FE difficulty. I didn't want to have to do that, you know. So, and I also didn't want to accept a discount I don't deserve because I'm not old enough. Just because I look old. Eric, if FI polar is dead inside, is FE polar then 2 alive? I don't think FI polar is dead inside at all. Uh, yeah, she's also established that silence equals consent. Although, if you were one of my debaters, I would scold you mightily. Say, listen, the expression, the big difference between silence equals assent and silence equals consent. Okay? We all agree silence equals assent. None of us should agree that silence equals consent. Does your FI ever send you a formal letter of complaint asking for a super warm hug? Um, yeah, it did one time I can think of for sure when I was in that terrible relationship with Kimberly and Becky, this horribly toxic ENTP, who nevertheless was extremely helpful when before before revealing her toxicity and thereby creating an un, unfixable breach between us. Because, I'm not going to leave toxicity left held unaccountable. And narcissists, or whatever you want to call them, toxic people, their fundamental disease is accountability avoidance disorder. So, anyway, but when she had me do internal family systems, I really had this moment where I was like, I understood that some child part of me felt very betrayed by the adult me, you know? Like, why aren't you protecting me? That was a that was a huge, strange, revelatory moment for me. But it didn't actually, it wasn't actionable at all. Dead inside, I think, is best ascribed to well, I don't know. If you were gonna call any type soulless, it would be INFJ. They're the most distant overall from their subjectivities of all types. And if you want to call soulless, dead inside, whatever kind of ridiculously negative framing of it you want to call it, it would go along with the least amount of fluency with subjectivities. And that type, in my opinion, there's no, second place is quite some distance from this type. The type that has the least healthy relationship, or like hardy, I guess, not healthy, the least hardy relationship with their subjectivities is INFJ. That got really deep really fast. Well, that's one of the things about that bipolar is I can shift gears quickly to feeling like remembering that moment and feeling choked up about it and how like significant a moment it was. And then breeze into the next topic and kind of forget about that thing we just talked about 5 seconds ago. But I highly recommend internal family systems as a as an as an actionable kind of way for FI people to deal with FI backstack people to deal with their FI um, in ways that are more compatible with their function stack. So it's very helpful to me to section off portions of myself and treat them as other people. Then I can understand them better than if I treat them as myself. So I do want to give full credit to Toxic Becky for introducing me to that and doing incredible work actually as a relationship counselor for me and Kimberly. She actually did an incredible job of that. Of course, that wasn't a job that needed to be done. The job that needed to be done was for everybody for her to tell me, Eric, you need to leave this woman. She is toxic. She is abusing you. Not that I would have listened, but you know, given that I wouldn't have listened, I think what she did was fantastic, and she deserves full credit for being really good at that. Like being able to successfully communicate both with me, which isn't that difficult, but impressively with Kimberly, you know, who, and it was the only context in which I could ever get her held accountable at all, really. Well, the thing is, having the most distant relationship with your subjectivities is is only dead inside to people who believe that the real self is the subjective self, you know? For objectivists like INFJs, ENTPs, um, obviously you could include INTPs, ENFJs. I would say the difference there is for um, for ENFJs, they've got subjective functions. They've got a subjective. They got the most subjective function in the most external world absolute value spot 5. So you know they're extremely objective about subjectivities. ENFJs and INFJs are both extremely objective about subjectivities, about other people's subjectivities. They're right about them, you know. But they're not necessarily right about their own subjectivities. I think ENFJs are righter about their own subjectivities than INFJs are. Polar SI, sure, but still an absolute value. Ignoring FI, sure, but still an absolute value. Versus INFJ, FI6 countervalued. The most subjective function is the most consciously countervalued in INFJs. And then the other subjective, epistemology function, SI, is the most unconscious of all their functions. So they have the most distant relationship with their subjectivities. But for objective framed people, like I see Rachel as more authentically soulful in her effectiveness in knowing and interfacing with externalities that are holistic or subjective. I mean, FE Tool is a very objective way of dealing with other people's subjectivities. Especially so because it's instrumental, you know. Differ in terms of parts of their polarness? Well, I would say ESTP's FI polar expresses differently than ENTP's FI polar. But I would say that obviously there's going to be some range of particular variation between the expression of FI polar say between me and KE. If you went through our various expressions of it, you could make the case that either of us has better FI than the other one. And if you wanted to make a case that way, which is to say, cherry pick the parts of the data that support that case, um, and frame them accordingly. Well, that's not a good way to make a case. Obviously, you have to look at the totality of the evidence and through varying levels of zoom. So it's like if you look at what we say, that we might say different words, but we're expressing the same concept sometimes of just like not getting the role that FI is supposed to play. Like hearing KE talk about this this guy she thought was cute at work or whatever. It's hilarious because I can do to her what I'm sure other people can easily do to me too. I can predictably trigger an avalanche of legalistic reasoning when I push on her FI. I can't help but find it amusing. I'm not really doing it like willfully, purposefully. It's just sort of happening. And I'm realizing the aftermath of what's going on there, But it makes me laugh to see my own foibles in another person, which I can always see more clearly than I can see them in myself. It also does make me feel like I'm cognitive functions plus life experience has given me unusually sophisticated objective understanding of FI, which kind of mimics actual FI in some ways. So you could certainly try to make the case and probably be able to put together juxtapositions that create the appearance of me having more FI than she does. But if I really had more FI than she does, the preceding sentence would never have been written. Well, I think what happens is the differences in environment can be boiled down to a single category of thing, which is ontologically affirming, accepting, compatible versus ontologically negating, adversarial, incompatible. If you have the former environment, you're going to have a much healthier or more robust, is a better way to put it, relationship with your polar than in the latter. This is my hypothesis. I don't have much to back it up except intuition and an example or two. But it's that the more toxicity you endure, the more you retreat to your first and second functions. And the less toxicity, the more nurturing and compatible and affirming worldview you have, then the more you can safely engage with your less conscious functions. It's sort of just unavoidable part of being human, like a defense mechanism, that you retreat attentionally more and more to your strengths, the less and less friendly the world is. IFS is awesome. Well, I'm 10 minutes behind, but I agree about the INFJ dead inside. Not that it's true, but it feels that way at times. IFS is awesome. Well, when you get a little bit forward from there, you'll see that I negate the idea of that being soulless or dead inside because that's from a subjectivist perspective. From an objectivist perspective, it's much more soulful and alive because it's it's platinum rule rather than golden rule, right? Objectivist says treat others as they want to be treated. Subjectivist says treat others as you want to be treated. So that's my. If I wanted to be adversarial about like legitimacy of soul or something, which I think is a silly thing to be adversarial about, but if I wanted to be, I'd say, okay, well, I counter your soulless argument with my platinum versus golden rule argument, which is really better. It was a joke from you between KE and you, not my idea. What was? I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, that thing. Oh yeah, I wasn't. It's like when you said that, I immediately engaged with the idea and jettison you from the equation entirely. So I wasn't thinking who said that or asked that or anything like that. If you had asked me who said that, who asked that question about meow, I would have said, I have no idea. How did they ask that question about meow? Oh, the dead inside thing. Oh, well, I like the question. I I I like it much more as a question than I do as a joke. Right? I think it's a very interesting question, and there's I mean there's a case to be made to say that um like INFPs are dead outside, right? like they're so they're so alive inside, they're dead outside. Well, I'm very alive outside, right? Look how alive I am. I used to think people were gonna attack me or insult me even if they weren't, and always cagey and anxious and shit, sometimes for no reason. So this can happen if you've been through some shit. Yeah, for sure. Well, thank you, the man with the great Miss Jetty, and namaste. What does namaste mean anyway? I've heard it for years. People do it either seriously or joking or whatever. But what does it actually mean? Namaste. Does it mean like hello or peace be with you or some shit like that? Or what? Namaste. Is it like aloha? It means whatever you want it to mean. Next time I disagree with somebody, instead of either agreeing with them or disagreeing with them, I am just going to say aloha. Do you chop down paths in the jungle with your machete, then chop up wood and meat, etc.? Uh, no. I'm not. Is that continuation of a metaphor that you didn't make explicit in your previous statement? I'm not really sure where you're going there with that. Um, the more you try to battle adversity, the more your eighth develops. Uh, and I'm gonna stay. I'm gonna stay. Is that what it means? Wow, it makes a lot more sense now. And then in response, do people say either You must leave, or you must stay. I guess that would make sense, you know. So I feel a strongly like protective, nurturing urge in response to Rachel's subjective like fog of subjective confusion. It makes her very lovable to me, you know. Yeah. No, I was thinking it was you may stay. You know, I'm a stay, and then you may stay or you must leave. Right? You may leave. But you could interpret it either way. Must or may is fine. I retract my previous objection before the judge rules on it. I retract it. Um. So anyway, as you may have heard from the beginning of the stream, the fact that I'm streaming now, which you very well may conclude, oh, that means Eric got his Adderall. No, it doesn't. I did not get my Adderall, and I cannot get it until when? Mañana. I was relieved to see that I was able to get it tomorrow because um, I thought it was Friday briefly, and then I was like, I'm not gonna be able to get it till Monday. So it was kind of like it was kind of it kind of ended up balancing out emotionally. So it went from hoping I was going to get it today to thinking I wasn't going to get it till Monday to realizing I was going to get it to having it confirmed that I was going to get it tomorrow. So that's that ends up being like an emotional wash, right? So that's pretty good. It's kind of like it was a good bad interpretation. I looked pretty cool yesterday, like one of the dudes from Interpol, probably for Rachel's birthday. Yes, it was for Rachel's birthday, here I am. Even though technically Rachel's birthday was Tuesday, we celebrated it on Wednesday because the restaurant we wanted to go was closed on Tuesdays. So right now, I'm basically I'm I'm running on natural high, which is not one of my regular default kind of ways. I feel good. I feel interested in the coming futures. Um, like I'm thinking I may go crazy here in a second and go outside with you and get out my tire pump for my car and fill up all of my tires. Because when the weather changes and gets super cold, then what happens? Your tire pressure goes down. And all of my tires look like they're flat now. Hello, KE. I am one of the bishes. And I appreciate you giving me hay to eat. I was discussing before you arrived our earlier, well, uh, what's his name? The man with the great machete referenced something earlier in our FI conversation or whatever. So You missed out on us talking about you, is what I'm saying. We were talking so much shit. Oh my God. Everyone was like, that KE? Not really. We were talking shit. We were just talking about, well, I was saying like, um, that you could make a case if you were to like cherry pick things each of us say that one of us has stronger FI than the other. You could make either case probably equally well if you were to go about making a case that way, which is a dumb way to make a case, right? Um, but ultimately, if you look at it from a broader picture, there's so many similarities about our weird like that. Like when I started pushing on your FI a little bit. Okay, okay. Yeah. You're ignoring everything I am saying right now. That's what I have to say to you is tisk tisk tisk. Certainly, in our earlier conversation, it would appear to any sane observer that I have much better FI than you, right? Because when I pushed on it, it triggered this avalanche of legalistic explanations and justifications and stuff that I found funny, you know? Don't you have reasons for why you like people, Hero? Okay, stop getting all defensive, okay? I was just observing before how it's much easier for me to see FI polar in somebody else and find it funny and recognize that I do the same kind of things than it is for me to see it up front in myself in the moment, you know? Okay. Well, I'm talking about how I don't know, whatever. Okay, Katie, you've got wonderful FI. You win the argument with your stout reasoning and strong TI argumentation. Okay? I misinterpreted and misframed your responses, which were simply direct responses to Winston's mom's question. I misunderstood them and misframed them as revelatory about your FI, and I am very sorry. You're as ESFP as I am, Katie, which is not fucking at all. Well, if you want to listen to 50% of the people you met, KE, then you'd be half the time listening to retards. Oh, does it shock you that 99% of people are wrong about that? Does that shock you? When you genuinely factor intuitively in all the different things, people being haters, people not knowing anything about how to type people, people assuming chicks are emotional. When you factor all that stuff in, does it surprise you at all that 99% of the people are wrong about it? Wouldn't it make you more doubtful if more people agreed with me? It should. After all, they don't think well. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. And they're like, you have a vagina, you can't be TI Tool. Well, fortunately, there's someone on the internet who knows better than that. And that someone is me. So, here's what I have to say to all the wrong people out there. Pew, pew. When we first met, I'll never forget. Baby, I can't wait to know. What do you think about things? Believe me, I will always be there, so you can tell me anything and I'll listen. Ba-na-na. Come on, baby, do the conga. No, you can't control yourself any longer. Come on, baby, do the conga. Did I look exactly like Gloria Estefan right there, or what? Is there anybody here who thinks Gloria Estefan and the Miami Sound Machine is not too long a band name? Is there anybody gonna say I like that band name? I think that's a good length for a band name. Gloria Estefan and the Miami Sound Machine. No. I'm sorry, but no. That's an unacceptable name for a band, or whatever they were. A musical group. Oh, Gloria Estefan. The other problem with you, of course, is your name has too many vowels in a row. Gloria Stefan. 3 vowels in a row, each of them representing a different syllable? No. I'm sorry, Gloria Estefan. Change your name to Gloria Stefan or Gloria Stefan. One of the two is, either of those two is fine. You might want to go with Gloria Stefan because Glory Estefan would be a problem since your middle name is Hole. That's comedy joke music. Luminex, the Marquis de Sade is not fantastic. Okay? He was a sadist. He was horrible. He was horrible coast to coast, LA to Chicago. Gloria Hole Stefan versus Gloria Hole Stefan. I agree. Neither of them are great. Her parents shouldn't have made her middle name Hole. They were going to make her middle name Hole. They should have just stayed away from G names entirely. Maybe name her like Helen Hole Stefan. But again, Hole is Stefan. You got vowels right next to each other. No, I don't like it. So her parents were just really bad at naming. You know, it's like so many things that I say on a live stream, right, are things that I said yesterday in the car to Rachel, or yesterday, whenever, at some point to Rachel. And then I come on the live stream, and the things that I said in the car that I liked, I'll say again on the live stream. That's SI fourth for you. Like I was laughing this morning as I was driving to the supermarket again about the idea of the eBay people in the conference room and one of them suggesting a sane idea, and then the other senior manager like, "Get out of here! Who hired you anyway?" Let's get back to our serious ideas, like mailing him a box of live cockroaches. Oh, that eBay story just is the most hilarious thing I have ever heard. If I'm repeating something I said from a lifetime in the car, I'm um, dovetailing into something new from it. I don't torture Rachel by just repeating things usually, although I'll sometimes call back something and say, as for that time, this time, you know. Dovetailing into something new and presumably intuitively resonant. Only cap season till tomorrow, and then for the rest of the year, no cap. So until tomorrow, you continue bullshitting. I want to get over my own hiccups rather than make the world bend around them. I'd say split the difference, KE. When you are correct, try to make the world bend to you. It won't work, but you'll feel righteous in your failure. When you are wrong, or when it's like mushy, err on the side of changing yourself or whatever. But remember, you're always going to be way too harsh of a critic of yourself. Way harsher a critic of yourself than you deserve to be. Than like your own criticism of yourself is way harsher than yourself deserves. Didn't I blow your mind this time? Didn't I? I try to veil that in different words most of the time. That sentiment. Yeah, well, I know the pain, Ke, of being FI polar TI tool, you know. And if you weren't here for the part where I mentioned internal family systems, it's really a good way for unconscious FI people uh, to position different parts of themselves or feelings and stuff they have as different people, understand them as objective objects that you can sort of engage with your conscious functions. Well, you could try my dad's cure for hiccups, brandy. My dad had a surefire cure for hiccups. It was brandy. Do you have any brandy on hand, Ke? I don't know if you keep a bottle of brandy in the house or not, but if you do, mm, me neither. Well, in that second part, you and I differ. I used to drink quite a bit. How about sheer force of will? I mean, just how about you just scold yourself very sternly? You will stop hiccuping right now, like that. What do you think? I don't think KE is underage here, Lamb. Well, fortunately, blessedly, KE, I don't seem to have any problem with substance abuse. So, Choco. Is Choco your hip young person slang for chocolate? I'm gonna try to use more hip young person slang from now on, like cap and no cap and sup and like same. This is a generational difference between Ruben and Acacia and Rachel's generation and mine. Even though we're not that far apart, millennials say same, but Gen X people don't say that. Millennials will say this if they think something's like great or whatever. Gen X people don't. Gen X people think this is a relative pronoun or an adjective depending on how you're using it. I don't think this is a complete sentence. But I do think this is fine is a complete sentence. And you know what? This is fine. Gen X people don't really matter anymore. Thanks, Broccoli Todd. I appreciate it. Fortunately, I am Eric. I am not I am not defined by my generation. So I don't worry about that sort of stuff. Obviously, I'm relevant not because of how old I am or how tall I am or anything else, but because of how right I am. And or because I make something super good, which I've not been able to make anything so good as to be super relevant in that regard. But uh, regarding being correct about things, well, I'm at the peak of my game. I'm at the peak of the game. So I don't have to worry about that. But I think many here are older for whatever reason. I think Ruben and Acacia, I think Ruben the exact same age as Rachel or just has the same birthday? The same birthday month? I mean, like, I know they're the same generation, they're the same birthday month. I don't know exactly how old Ruben is. I think Acacia's like 36 or something. I don't know. And because Eric is old, I don't know how old the Gen X. I'm 52. I'll be 53 in April. So, and the thing is, when one of the nice things about a live stream from my perspective is I get to deal with everybody just as a name and what they say. I don't have to think about what they are, you know? That you are your name, your little circle, and these words that come out to the side of you. I don't have to worry about it if Elaine's 22 or 222. It doesn't matter. I mean, age mattered when I was looking for a girlfriend. I, like KE, went in with some legalistic stuff, like sorry, Katie. I know you were responding to Winston's mom. Okay. I was like, okay, I'm not gonna date anybody under 30 because that's cradle robbing. But I'd like somebody not that much over 30 because this time I'm gonna try something I've never tried before. I'm gonna try to get with somebody hot. And that was a good idea. It continues to pay wonderful dividends to this day. So, in that regard, uh, my intellectualization hit right where it ought to have hit. Rachel's now 39. So, Ruben and Rachel are the same age. They're almost exactly the same age. They're within a month of each other. Um, they're probably the same astrological sign, although you don't know for sure because I know that some of those things change. Like they don't go exactly with the months. Anyway, usually, usually I can make myself want more oxygen by holding my breath. Amazing. Oh, really? I wonder if I could do that. Oh, you guys are different. She's Capricorn and Ruben's Aquarius. She's a sea goat. I don't. Aquarius, I guess, is just what a fish. Pancaj, Pancholi. Hello. How are you today? I am fine. Thank you for asking. I know you didn't ask, but I'm going to pretend like you did ask or that I've anticipated you were about to ask. You can't find, you can't like find or search for chemistry with others. It happens or not. Well, I agree with you here, Lamb. So I'm not saying I that because I applied that rule, it paid off and I got Rachel. Um, in fact, because I had that rule, I almost like crossed Rachel off the list before I even talked to her because I thought she was too young. So, turned out she wasn't, according to my criterion. After all, she just looked younger than she was. So I'm not saying my rule was a good thing or that it caused good outcomes, but the idea of it would be nice to get with somebody hot definitely paid dividends. you know, and continues to. But here you could probably introduce a catalyst to start a chemical reaction. Humanitarians definitely fits ENFJ. I mean, it's definitely the case that Ruben's hyper aware of everybody else's emotional state, but I don't know if he really likes that fact, right? Like, I don't think he's necessarily happy about it. I don't think necessarily Rachel's happy about her own hyper aware FE that makes her sleep less well, knowing that Capillo's in her room on her bed, even though she's not going to kick her or anything because Capillo sleeps far away from her. Because I suspect it has to do with the fact that Rachel likes to sleep with her door closed for the woomy effect of the thing. and she knows in the back of her mind that she's gonna have to get up and let the cat out if the cat scratches at the door, and then she gets all distressed because she can't figure out how to prioritize her subjectivities adequately. Like I my SI is being messed with. I'm only experiencing it as an FI thing, which I countervalue. Like this cat's interfering with my sleep. I'm experiencing that as I don't like the cat as much as I should. So I don't think Rachel particularly enjoys being like that. I don't know. It sounds like maybe Ruben doesn't particularly love being like that either. I feel like third slot FE's a pretty comfortable place to have FE. It's childish enough that you're not really aware of how bad your own FE is, and selfish enough that you don't care. That that's a good nutshell description of third slot FE's polar FI. Childish enough about perceptions to not be aware of your FP failures, and selfish enough to not care. Okay, well, let's go smoke another cigarette. And, oh, right. I was going to, and maybe I should, and maybe I will. In fact, let's go pump up the tires. If you've got tires on your car, check to see if they're the kind that take air. And if they are, occasionally pump up your tires. And in case you were not here for when I explained earlier, the reason my tires are all flat, and it's like on the dashboard, it's got this thing that says it puts a little light on which tire is low. All four of them are low. Well, what did I do with my air pump? Well, I can't find it. I have to go into town tomorrow anyway. I just stop by Boot Jack and use their air pump thing, which will be faster and better. But I was feeling kind of lazy on the way to the store. I didn't feel like stopping at Boot Jack and using the air thing. And now I'm really regretting it. Are EHPs conflict avoidant, or can they be? Did you guys take my my tire pumper? That's fine. Don't worry about it. Maybe you did. If that's so, that's fine. I'm glad that you conveyed to me that you think that's possible, because that way I won't bother looking for it. No big thing. If that's what happened, I'll get it back from you eventually. I can't smoke this in here. Oh, right. I was going to go smoke and pump up the tires. Now I could still just smoke, though, so. I was a bit emo in my teen years with long hair and black clothes and metal music and shit. Me too. There's some Yeah, something somewhere. Maybe with dyed black hair. That's as much of it that it was the same as I had dyed black hair and I kind of had like bangs a little bit, but that's as far as I went with that aesthetic. Um, what was I about to do? I was about to do something so important that we should all celebrate it forever. What was it now? I was going to, I don't remember. Well, we'll go smoke a cigarette. Maybe I'll remember. Uh, I wonder what Chrissy Teigen said. Chrissy Teigen apparently made some controversial comments. Oh, Chrissy Teigen did not attend the ceremony, but she expressed disapproval of the design that night, writing in an Instagram story that she was begging award shows to have better looking step and repeats. I totally agree with her. Now, I would not know what a step and repeat is, except they have a picture of it here above this thing. In fact, I complained about it during the Fashion Police thing. I just didn't know what it was called. This background pattern, right, that they have, it makes it hard to judge people's fashion clothes because it's like, for example, Selena Gomez's outfit totally blended in with that crazy step and repeat. It's like a backsplash with logos on it, right? So I agree entirely with Chrissy Teigen. And Chrissy Teigen, I applaud you for bringing this important issue to everyone's attention. Bravo, madam. Bravo. I could not agree with you more. That step and repeat really interfered with my ability to fashion police things. I really think of all the outfits, the one whose outfit was most done a disservice by that step and repeat was Selena Gomez's. Because she blended, it was like she was a chameleon blending in with the background. Well, they need something plain so that you can see what their outfit looks like against the same, against a neutral backdrop, right? I guess you could do this. You could say, at the very least, they should reveal what the step and repeat is going to be before Chrissy T. I don't know who that is, but I'm praising her for being correct about something. Here I am. It doesn't matter who she is. Everybody gets to be correct about things they're correct about. And in this matter, she is correct about this step and repeat, if that's what that backdrop, backsplash thing is. Right. If they release it ahead of time, then you can structure your outfit so that you won't either accidentally blend it, you either purposefully blend in perfectly. Like you get an outfit with the same exact print of backsplash on it. Very professorish. Well, maybe this part, but this part is just sweats and tatami slippers. Or were you talking about him? Were you talking about this guy or me? expressed disapproval of the carpet. Is that what they were talking about? The carpet? I thought they were talking about that backdrop thing. I don't have any opinion about the carpet. I don't remember noticing the carpet at all. But the drapes, I did not approve of. So, if the carpets match the drapes, then I guess I disapprove of the carpet as well. But the carpet's not as big of an issue. It's just going to possibly be an issue with your shoes, right? Not the whole rest of your outfit. This guy, he's a he protects the house from bad juju. That's what he says anyway. I'm not sure if I believe him. Of course I do. What do you mean you don't believe me? Well, I just haven't seen any good evidence of that, really. Well, you haven't had any bad juju, have you? I don't even know if I've had any bad juju. I'm not sure what it would look like if I were to have bad or good juju. So, okay, well, my big plan was to put some air in my tires. Now that plan, my hopes are dashed. That's fine. My next big plan is to wait for the telephone people to come install fast internet. Between now and then, I'm going to what? What am I going to do? I'm going to watch a cartoon, then probably take a nap. So, okay, I'm going to say goodbye to you now with all of the waves in my hands. Thanks for being here. Don't forget to eat plenty of cheese.